Okay, today I'm going to talk about dating, best places to find a relationship. We're going to talk about social anxiety. I'm also going to talk about the fact that I don't believe in day game. I don't teach day game or any of the pickup stuff. I want to make that clear, because today people can assume, people do it to me sometimes, they can assume if you're giving dating advice or you're encouraging men and women to go out and speak to one another, that you're doing this thing called day game. Now, I was speaking to women before the term day game was even invented. Obviously, day game's an idea, and I don't believe in game. I don't believe in gaming people. So I don't use those philosophies, even though I speak to women. It's a bit like saying everyone who does martial arts is doing Jeet-Kune-Do, when they're not doing that. There's a lot of different styles. So day game obviously has its own beliefs and mindsets and its own strategies and techniques, and I don't abide by those. I don't use those. I don't agree with those ethics and values of tricking, manipulating, lying, being fake, using different personas, acting like you're not interested when you are interested. I don't do all that stuff. I don't need to do it. My philosophy is all about what you see, what I'm doing now, honesty, coming at face value, confidence, self-esteem, being authentic, showing your unique personality. So if people want to do that, that's their choice. Good luck to everyone's got their own choices in life, but I'm not going to be labelled as something that I'm not doing. For years, online dating didn't work for me. I tried it, nightclubs. So I usually end up dating a woman that I'll meet in public. Sometimes women speak to me, they look over at me, they start a conversation. If I feel like it, sometimes I'll go over and I'll speak to a woman in public. So I just see it as, talking to women. I don't put labels on it. And my whole philosophy is about being honest with people. I just don't see the point in, and maybe some guys do, but for me personally, I don't have that low self-esteem where I don't trust myself or I need to use techniques to impress women. For many years I built my confidence up. I always attract women through being completely transparent about myself, about who I am. So I'm very open and transparent. So we've cleared that one up. So I've been getting a lot of messages during the lockdown period from men asking me, where do you think I should meet women? Online dating isn't working. So I'll share my opinion, right? And it's my opinion. You can take the bits that you like and stuff, and sure, people are going to add to the box below. I just want to make a point of saying as well, I'm not even a dating and relationship coach anymore. I retired from that. I really enjoyed it when I did that. I was extremely successful at helping a lot of people and with my business at the time. Anyway, but I am sharing my experience. I've got loads of experience dating women. I've had long-term relationships. I've been on lots of dates. I've failed a lot, and I've helped a lot of men into relationships. So I'm more interested in talking about relationships in this video. I'm not into as well teaching men how to be womanizers and how to sleep with loads of women. That's not what I'm about. And obviously if guys want to do that, I'm not condemning them. That's their choice. They've got their own mind. So I did that point in my life. But I'm more interested about the relationship, because I get more questions on that. And I prefer relationships. I'm a lot happier if I'm in a relationship with someone as opposed to dating lots of different people. But everyone's got their own choice. So for me, the problem with online dating, well, where do we start? Now, I just want to make a point saying I haven't done online dating for years. I haven't needed to, because I've always been in a relationship or been dating someone that I've met through serendipity, or because I saw him on the street, or I saw him in the park, and I went over and started a conversation and asked them out, and they said yes. So I haven't done it, but I have. I'm intelligent. People tell me their experiences. I've dated women that have said to me, "Oh, you're the first guy that's ever spoken to me in the coffee shop," and I really liked it because I've been doing online dating and hasn't been working for me. I've been getting lots of weird messages from men, or I just keep meeting, I speak to men online and they seem really nice, and then when I go for a date, they're very different. And men will say the same thing to me. They'll say, oh, I was speaking to this girl online and she was very nice, and now she's just ignored me, she's rejected me, or when I went on a date, she was very different. So men and women have said to me the same thing about each other from online dating, that it's just not happening. So the problem with online dating is, we'll start with for men. The problem is, it's a lot of time that you've got to put in, right? And I mean, of course, you've got to put time in if you want to get a result or something usually, but it's a lot. I think it's a lot of wasted time, because you're going into an environment where there's so many people on these online dating sites, and everyone's got different values, everyone's got different personalities, and most people are not playing fair. They're not playing fair in the sense that they're not being honest. They're not going to be honest, because you've got lots of egos in one place wanting to impress one another. And when there's a lot of ego, obviously healthy egos is good. Everyone needs a bit of healthy ego. When there's too much ego on an online dating platform or a dating app, people start changing. People start pulling out not their best characteristics, and that's when things get dark and dishonest. And I'm not preaching to the choir. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I'm the most purest, but I'm not. But I am an honest person. And I do uphold these values, and I live by them. And I'm sure sometimes I fail at them as well, but I've got the honesty to admit that I'm not perfect. But the fact that I'm trying to be a better person counts for a lot. And I'm a lot more honest than a lot of people would go about being. That's how I was brought up. I really value that. That's where my confidence comes from, my honesty. So people are not honest. And again, not everyone. Of course there's going to be some people online. We're not going to generalize with ignorance. There's going to be people online that are honest, men and women, that are genuine. I'm sure there are. But there's a lot of people that are not, that play these games. And some of the sites encourage this type of this type of flirting that it's not congruent. It comes from a bad place. It's just dark. So that's the first reason I don't feel good about it. The second reason is from a woman's point of view, and women have told me this, so this is just not me being opinionated about what I think, what women have said, and what I believe to be true. Not all women, but a lot of women, they're not really gonna have that. They're not going to be that impressed by a man's confidence if he has to be on an online dating site looking for a woman. It kind of suggests that he doesn't really have the confidence to speak to a woman in person, in an event or in public, anywhere in real life. It kind of tells you that. Now that might not be true, because obviously there's some guys who can, like I could, if I did online dating, the women might not know that I'm a really confident guy, and I've had a lot of practice talking to women and dating, and I've got the confidence to go up to someone anywhere, on the street, in a public place, in the cinema, in the gym, at an event, at a meeting. I've got the confidence to go up and introduce myself and have a conversation and ask the person out, invite them out. So they might not know that, but a lot of guys on the online dating sites don't have that confidence. That's why they're on there. And that's the problem. You're kind of putting yourself at a disposition. You're going on a site, and by going on, you're kind of communicating to women that I'm not really a confident guy, right? In a lot of cases. Whereas when you speak to a woman in real life, and you're honest, and you're not using that day game stuff, you're not coming up trying to act cool and be this insecure guy that's using lines and tricks. When you're going over genuine and you're confident, and you're yourself and you're respectful, they admire that courage. They're impressed in a good way. So many women have told me this. I've heard this over and over again in many guys that I've helped, And I've seen guys over the years who don't do day game. They don't even know what that is. They're just natural, normal men that can speak to a woman in public. I mean, my first mentor has never heard of day game, doesn't even know what that is. I learned from him. I had no confidence. So for me, my message has always been about honest communication. And I think a lot of guys, they don't understand that. They just think, oh, he's doing day game. It's like, I'm not. I've always, learned for many years how to speak to a woman. Day game is when you're using tactics, you're manipulating. And I'm not. I'm just being genuine, building honest connections. For me, sometimes I just enjoy having a conversation without even it having to progress onto a number or relationship. That's another story. Make a point of saying that. So, a I suppose it comes down to a confidence thing and social skills, and for a lot of guys who don't have much confidence with women and in themselves, and they don't have great social skills, they haven't developed their social skills to the best ability yet, they're going to go on online dating and they might naively come unstuck, and people can be harsh online because it's not in person. I know a lot of the women and the men, they wouldn't treat one another in person the way they do online. They wouldn't say those things in messages because it's people just change unless they're very authentic, which is rare today. When you're online, people have got an online persona, and you know, I'm not being braggadocious, but I haven't. My persona is the same online as it is in person. I've developed that, and I chose to be like that. That's who I am. I don't follow. I never followed the crowd. I never did that. Maybe a little bit when I was younger, like 11, 12, or you know, my teens. I stopped doing that when I got to an adult, you know, in my 20s. So everyone just kind of follows. I suppose it's what society says, but it's not always right. You know, everyone just follows along. So by all means, I'm not saying, look, I'm not anti-online dating. I would be happy for someone. Obviously, some people have found love on it. Great. I want everyone to find love. But the reality is, I just don't think it's great, if you ask my opinion. But look, if you're going to do it, then do it to the best of your ability. Common sense. Get a nice profile picture, you know, be honest, you know, if I was going to go online dating, I would go on the site with a good perception, good beliefs. Even though I may have some beliefs, what I just said earlier, I've always been about that. I would get my perception as positive as I could, so I would communicate that through my messages. I probably would do well on online dating. I might not, probably would, because of all my confidence from dating in real life. Women would probably sense that, and that's my belief in myself. That's not arrogance, and that's the belief a lot of you should have, that I would like you to have if you follow my videos. Subscribe to my channel, by the way. So if you're going to do online dating, I would get the basics right. Yeah, I'd get a nice profile picture. I would I'd be honest. I wouldn't lie and say things on your profile to impress women that you're not doing. So I wouldn't write, I love hitchhiking, when you've never hiked in your life. So my one would be complete honesty. It would be positive. It would be positivity, love, confidence, and I would make it clear the type of woman or the characteristic that I'm interested in. You know, in a respectful way. I'd be respectful. So I think that's very important. I think this is something that a lot of men don't understand, that it's very important to have respect for women. And I think they hear that and they hear it wrong. A lot of guys, they get frustrated or furious. They think that means, you know, they've got to not be manly or they can't be confident. And it's completely not true. It encompasses pure confidence, pure being a man. It's the old school way, which I prefer, where you respect a woman and you respect yourself. Because a man's relationship with a woman is a relationship with himself. Which is why I don't agree with the pickup stuff, because I believe those guys don't have a good relationship with themselves or women, which is why there's a lot of darkness and all the tactics and all of the ego and the unconscious stuff, and I'm not into that. It's not for me. Thank you very much. So for those of you that got the same values as me, you're like my videos, as a lot of you do. And for the people who don't, I don't lose any sleep over that. I'm not fussed. Wish everyone the best. So, you know, and for a lot of guys who, I mean, pretty much everyone has social anxiety. Some have it really bad. For those who have it bad, doing too much online dating is not going to improve your social anxiety unless you're getting a lot of dates. It's working for you, because then when you're going on the dates, you're getting to meet them in person, right? That's the main thing for me. For me, online dating would only be an avenue, you know, to go on dates. So, you know, I don't know everything about it, but it doesn't seem like it's working. If you look at the numbers, the amount of women that have complained to me, that I've spoken to, and men. But if it works for you, go for it. I mean, who am I to say to do it or not to do it? This is just my honest opinion. Maybe for some people you're destined to do it. The love of your life is on that site. Who knows? So yeah, as I was saying, you can't get the same confidence from going and doing online dating and messaging women via text message online. That's not going to give you the same confidence as meeting women in person. You know, like going to an event, a dating event, or striking up a conversation with a woman in a coffee shop or a park, or speaking to a woman at the gym or a social activity. It's not the same, because you gain so much confidence socially when you speak to a woman in life. And the great thing about it is, think about it, right? A guy who's spending months or weeks sending messages online trying to obviously get a date, as opposed to a guy who's got confidence, who just sees a woman on the street or in public and just walks up and is honest and speaks to her and asks her out. I mean, within seconds he gets to show all of his real personality. And the same guy who maybe would try and speak to that woman online through online dating, she doesn't know him. She doesn't get to see him in person. So that's the problem with the online dating. It doesn't bridge the gap unless you can, convince the person, or they will agree to go on a date with you based on your profile, your pictures, your description, and what you say through message. Or unless you went and, spoke to each other via Skype, but it's still not as powerful as in person. So that's such the advantage that you have with meeting women in real life, as opposed to over the internet, where they can see you at face value. It's so much different talking to a person, with anyone in general, especially strangers. So you get to make a good impression. And if they don't like you, then that's fine. You can live with that. You don't waste your time. So I think online dating wastes a lot of time. There's a lot of messaging back and forward. There's a lot of people are swiping, oh, not this person, that person. And sometimes people don't value each other when it's online, because the psychology is different when you're looking at someone's picture. You're not seeing that human being in real form unless you go on a date with them. And a lot of people are not going to go on as many dates, and some guys are not going on any dates. So that's why I personally much prefer face value. It's not the direction that most of our culture, society agrees with, but there's a lot of things that they say that I don't agree with, that they don't feel right. So, what if you're out in the park and you see the girl of your dreams? Are you supposed to not speak to her because it doesn't fit in with what society thinks, what the social trends say? Am I supposed to so you leave her? You could be losing out on your wife. Or if you're on the train and you see the most lovely girl and she looks at you and she's interested in you, you look at each other, you're supposed to not speak to each other. It doesn't make sense. It's a crying tragedy for men and women that the kind of, I'm not going to extreme, obviously it's not illegal, people can speak to each other, but there's an underlining rule that online dating is the only way, and I don't agree on it. Just like I never agreed with the old way of the nightclub scene. I've had so many good connections in real life. People are so different in real life than they are online. So that's my thoughts on it, alright? I'll leave it there. Become fearless, because when you do, your life becomes limitless.